My daughter-in-law shaved my wife's head on her wedding day for views. The video went viral. I woke up to the sound of muffled crying coming from our bathroom. Not the kind of crying you hear during movies or arguments. This was different. Quiet, broken. The sound someone makes when they're trying not to fall apart completely. When I opened the door, I saw my wife Nancy kneeling on the cold bathroom floor, silent in a way that terrified me. All around her were long strands of silver hair, cut and scattered everywhere like someone had taken scissors to a piece of her soul. My name's Carl Mitchell. I'm 61 years old, retired police sergeant from Seattle PD. Spent 30 years thinking I'd seen every kind of cruelty people could inflict on each other. Turns out, I was wrong. On the sink sat a hair clipper, still tangled with Nancy's hair. Next to it was a messy, handwritten note that made my stomach drop. Mom looks too old. I helped Mom look younger for the wedding video. In that moment, I understood something with crystal clarity. This wasn't a wedding we were attending today. This was a performance, and my wife had just been turned into a prop. Nancy's hands were shaking as they rested on her smooth, bare head, like she still couldn't believe what had happened was real. That hair had been with her for more than 30 years. Since the days when we were young and struggling, when she worked as a crossing guard helping kids get safely to school. Since the day her mother passed away and she swore she'd never cut her hair again, said it was her way of holding on to the last memory she had left. The bathroom floor was cold against my knees as I knelt down beside her. Those silver strands clung to my slippers, to my pajamas, like evidence I couldn't escape. I picked up the hair clipper. It was still warm. That's when I knew this had happened recently. Not an accident, not a breakdown, but something planned and executed while we slept. Nancy whispered so softly I almost missed it. I'm sorry. Maybe I really am too old. That sentence hit me harder than anything I'd heard in my 30 years on the force. Not because of the hair that was gone, but because she was blaming herself for someone else's cruelty. She was apologizing for being the victim of this calculated attack on her dignity. I placed my hand on her shoulder and felt the tension she was holding inside, the way her whole body was trying to make itself smaller. I didn't say anything right away. If I had opened my mouth in that moment, I knew I wouldn't be able to control my voice, and Nancy needed strength from me, not rage. I looked around the room carefully, the way I used to examine crime scenes. Everything was too neat, too organized. The towels were folded with military precision. The window was open at exactly the angle it always was. This didn't look like the aftermath of some spontaneous incident. It looked planned, staged, choreographed. On the vanity next to that awful note there was a phone lying face down. I turned it over and the screen lit up immediately. The video recording app was still running. The live stream icon showed it had ended less than 10 minutes ago. My blood went cold as the implications hit me. Lisa didn't just shave my wife's hair. She recorded the whole thing. She had broadcast Nancy's humiliation to whoever was watching her social media accounts. I checked the phone more carefully, using the investigation skills that had become second nature over 3 decades. In the list of connected devices, a small camera was still active and recording. I followed the power cable, hidden carefully behind a box of toiletries, and found a tiny camera positioned at the perfect angle to capture Nancy's face as she looked into the mirror. This wasn't random. This wasn't impulsive. This was a script, planned and executed with the kind of cold calculation that made my police instincts kick into overdrive. Nancy saw the camera in my hand and panic flashed across her eyes. "Carl, they can't," she started to say, but her voice trailed off. I didn't answer her. Instead, I removed the battery from the camera and slipped the device into my pocket. Then I stood up and locked the bathroom door from the inside, as if that small barrier could somehow make her feel safer from whatever was waiting outside. Outside our window, the mansion overlooking Puget Sound was slowly waking up. I could hear staff members moving quietly through the halls, preparing for what everyone believed would be a perfect wedding day. The smell of fresh flowers drifted up from the gardens below. Everything was exactly as it should be for a carefully orchestrated celebration. I helped Nancy to her feet and led her back to our bed, wrapping her in the thickest robe we had brought. "You don't need to go anywhere right now," I said, keeping my voice as steady as I could manage. "Let me handle this part." She nodded, but her hand stayed wrapped tightly around mine, like letting go would make everything collapse again. I could feel her pulse racing through her fingers. I stepped into the hallway and closed our bedroom door behind me as gently as I could. When it clicked shut, I heard Nancy start to cry again. Not the silent tears from before, but the kind of sobbing that comes when you finally feel safe enough to let the pain out. Some wounds don't need blood to leave scars that last forever. I walked down the hallway toward Danny and Lisa's suite, each step feeling heavier than the last. The anger I'd felt in the bathroom was gone now, replaced by something colder and more familiar. The same feeling I used to get when working complex cases where one wrong move could let dangerous people walk free. I could hear laughter coming from their room. Lisa's voice sharp and pleased with herself. Danny's voice lower, rushed, nervous the way it used to sound when he was a teenager trying to talk his way out of trouble. I stopped outside their door, not outside, because I was hesitating, but because something inside me said to listen first. Through the slightly open door, I could see them looking at a phone screen together. Lisa was tilted back in her chair, satisfied with whatever she was watching. Danny stood behind her, his hand resting on her shoulder. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but some conversations have a way of finding you even when you don't want to hear them. It might be a bit much, Danny said quietly, but his voice carried that tone I remembered from his childhood. Not really sorry, just worried about getting caught. Lisa laughed, the kind of laugh that has no warmth in it. Relax, babe. Old people always forgive family. Besides, if this clip goes viral, it'll be worth every second of drama. I stood perfectly still, not because I was shocked by what I was hearing, but because the words sounded too rehearsed, like they'd had this exact conversation before. Danny's voice dropped even lower. The bank called yesterday. That loan payment is due next Tuesday, and we're still $8,000 short. Which is exactly why I'm handling this, Lisa replied. Your mom is soft, Danny. She won't make a scene, especially not at your wedding. And your dad? He'll write whatever check we need to make this go away. They always do. There it was. The real reason. Not just cruelty for its own sake, but calculated exploitation. They'd turned Nancy's kindness into a business opportunity, her dignity into content, and her pain into profit. I heard Lisa's phone buzz with notifications. Look at this, she said excitedly. The comments are already coming in. Transformation Tuesday is trending again. This is going to pay for our honeymoon and then some. I didn't need to hear anymore. I walked away before they noticed me, not because I wanted to avoid confrontation, but because I needed time to think clearly. 30 years of police work had taught me that the best arrests happen when you have all your evidence lined up first. Back in our bedroom, Nancy was calmer but still sitting upright against the headboard, her hands folded neatly on the blanket. When she saw me, she didn't ask what I'd found. We'd been married long enough to know that sometimes answers come before questions. I won't let them turn this into entertainment, I said. My voice was steady, controlled. But I need you to trust me on how we handle this. Nancy nodded just slightly. She didn't look weak anymore, didn't look like she was trying to disappear. It was more like tired acceptance mixed with quiet determination. I opened our closet and pulled out a silk scarf I'd bought her years ago during a business trip to Portland. The color was deep blue, the pattern classic and elegant. I'd been saving it for a special occasion, never quite finding the right moment. This wasn't the occasion I'd imagined, but it was the right moment. I wrapped the scarf around Nancy's head carefully, taking my time, treating it like the ritual it had become. It didn't hide what had happened. Nothing could do that. But it restored a sense of order, gave her back some control over how the world would see her. When I stepped back, Nancy looked at herself in the dresser mirror, not searching for what was lost, but meeting this new version of herself with acceptance. I'm okay, she said, and for the first time since I'd found her on that bathroom floor, I believed her. I stepped back into the hallway and pulled out my phone. Some situations require immediate action, but this one called for precision. I made the first call to our family attorney, Philip Torres. We'd worked together for 15 years, and he knew me well enough to understand that when I called with specific instructions, there was always a good reason. Philip, I need to redirect the wedding gift we discussed. All of it goes into a trust with Nancy's name only. No joint access, no emergency clauses. Can you have the papers ready by noon? There was a brief pause, then, consider it done, Carl. Do you need me there today? Not unless things go sideways. I'll call if I need backup. The second call was to Victor Barnes at First National. Victor had been our private banking manager for over a decade, had helped us navigate everything from Nancy's mother's estate to our retirement planning. Victor, I need to stop that transfer we set up for today. Cancel it completely. The wedding gift transfer? Carl, are you sure? It's already been processed through the preliminary. I'm sure. Stop it now. Redirect everything back to our main account. I'll explain later. The third call was to an old partner from Seattle PD, Detective Sarah Martinez. She'd moved to financial crimes a few years back and knew more about social media exploitation laws than anyone else on the force. Sarah, hypothetically speaking, what kind of charges could someone face for filming elderly abuse and broadcasting it without consent? Hypothetically, elder abuse, invasion of privacy, harassment, possibly exploitation depending on the financial angle. Why, Carl? Please tell me this isn't about Nancy. I'll send you some evidence later. Just wanted to know what we might be dealing with. Carl, if someone hurt Nancy, I'm handling it, but it's good to know we have options. When I hung up, I checked my watch. Less than 90 minutes until the ceremony. Enough time to finish what needed to be done, not enough time for Lisa and Danny to realize their safety net had just disappeared. I walked back toward our bedroom to check on Nancy, but stopped when I noticed something I'd missed before. The hallway leading to the honeymoon suite was carpeted with thick Persian rugs that muffled footsteps. Perfect for someone who wanted to move around undetected. I'd walked this same path dozens of times over the years during family visits, but now I was seeing it through different eyes, the eyes of someone who understood how predators operate. The door to Danny and Lisa's suite was still slightly ajar. I was about to walk past when I heard Danny's voice again, lower and more urgent than before. Lisa, what if this backfires? What if Dad actually gets angry instead of just writing a check? Your dad? Lisa's laugh had an edge to it now. Danny, I've been studying your parents for 2 years. Your father's a retired cop who spent his whole career helping people. He's not going to destroy his own son's wedding day. And your mom? She spent her entire life being the peacemaker. Neither of them will make a scene. I heard papers rustling, then Danny's voice again. The loan officer called this morning. If we don't make that payment by Thursday, they start foreclosure proceedings on the house, which is exactly why we're doing this, Lisa replied. Look, the video already has 15,000 views and it's only been live for 20 minutes. The ad revenue from this one clip will get us through the month and the wedding footage will get us through the rest of the year. There was a pause, then Danny said, something that made my blood run cold. Sometimes I think you married me for the content opportunities. Lisa's response was immediate. Don't be ridiculous. I married you because your family has money and your parents are too polite to say no. The content is just a bonus. I'd heard enough, more than enough. I walked away before my police instincts kicked in, and I did something that would make the situation worse instead of better. Back in our bedroom, Nancy was sitting in the chair by the window, looking out at Puget Sound. The morning fog was starting to lift, revealing patches of blue water between the gray clouds. She'd always loved this view, said it reminded her that some things were bigger than whatever problems we were facing. How bad is it? She asked without turning around. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Bad enough that we're not just dealing with a cruel daughter-in-law. We're dealing with someone who's been planning this for a long time. Nancy nodded slowly. I should have seen it coming. The way she always had her phone out during family dinners, always asking personal questions about our finances, our health, our marriage. I thought she was just interested in getting to know us better. You couldn't have known, I said. Professional manipulators are good at what they do. They study their targets, learn their weaknesses, figure out exactly which buttons to push. Nancy turned to face me. What are you going to do? I looked at my wife of 35 years, sitting there with her dignity intact despite everything that had happened to her this morning, and I made a decision that felt as natural as breathing. I'm going to let them hang themselves with their own rope, I said. But first, I need to make sure you're protected from whatever fallout comes next. I spent the next 30 minutes walking Nancy through what was going to happen. How I'd redirected the wedding gift money into a trust that only she could access. How I'd documented the evidence we'd found. How we were going to handle the ceremony itself. You don't have to do anything except sit there and let me take care of this, I told her. But if at any point you want to leave, just squeeze my hand and we'll walk out together. Nancy was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Carl, I've been thinking about something. This morning, when I was kneeling on that bathroom floor, I felt smaller than I've ever felt in my life. But now, knowing that you're willing to stand up for me even against our own son, I feel stronger than I have in years. That was when I knew we were going to be okay, whatever happened next. I helped Nancy get dressed for the ceremony. She chose a navy blue dress that complemented the silk scarf, and when she looked at herself in the mirror one final time, I saw something I hadn't seen in her eyes for months: confidence. We made our way downstairs to the main reception area where guests were beginning to gather. I noticed unfamiliar faces scattered throughout the crowd, people who didn't look like family or friends, but rather like they were there for a different purpose entirely. Some had professional cameras, others were holding phones at odd angles, clearly recording. I realized that Lisa hadn't just turned our family crisis into content. She'd turned the entire wedding into a production. The ceremony space was beautiful, I had to admit. White flowers everywhere, golden light streaming through the tall windows, chairs arranged in perfect rows facing the altar. Under different circumstances, it would have been exactly the kind of wedding any parent would be proud to host for their child. Lisa appeared at the far end of the hall, already in her wedding dress, talking animatedly to a small group of people with cameras. Even from a distance, I could see her gesturing toward Nancy and me, clearly setting up whatever narrative she planned to broadcast to her followers. Danny stood near the altar in his tuxedo, fidgeting with his tie and checking his phone every few seconds. He looked nervous, but not the kind of nervous that comes from getting married. This was the nervous energy of someone who knew he was about to cross a line he couldn't uncross. I felt Nancy's hand slip into mine as we took our seats in the front row. Her grip was steady, determined. Whatever happened in the next hour, we were going to face it together. The wedding march began to play, and Lisa started down the aisle, her phone discreetly positioned to capture every moment for her eager online audience. The ceremony proceeded exactly as Lisa had planned it, at least for the first 20 minutes. The officiant spoke about love and commitment while Lisa's hidden cameras captured every angle. Danny stood at the altar looking like he might be sick, but he managed to get through his vows without breaking down completely. When it came time for the traditional family blessing and gift presentation, Lisa stepped forward with her phone held high, streaming. Live to what I could see was now over 50,000 viewers. "Thank you all for being here with us today," she said, her voice bright and artificial. "This is such a special moment for our family. We're so grateful for everyone's love and support, especially from Carl and Nancy, who have been incredibly generous." She turned toward me with that practiced smile. "Carl, would you like to say something about your gift to the happy couple?" The room went quiet. Hundreds of eyes turned toward me, some from the wedding guests, others from the cameras positioned throughout the venue. I could feel Nancy's hand squeeze mine as I stood up. "I'll keep this brief," I said, taking the microphone. My voice was steady, controlled. Today I was asked to give a gift. But before I do that, I think everyone here and everyone watching online should see what that gift was really intended to pay for. I had arranged this with Kevin Walsh, the AV coordinator. During the sound check, we'd uploaded the footage to his system and set up a simple remote trigger. Now I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. The large display behind the altar lit up with crystal clear footage from the bathroom camera. No music, no dramatic editing, just raw video of Lisa entering our room at 6:47 a.m. with the hair clippers in her hand. You could hear everything. Nancy's confused voice asking what Lisa was doing. Lisa's response: "Trust me, this will be great content. Old people transformations always go viral." The sound of the clippers turning on, Nancy's attempts to protest being ignored. The room went dead silent except for the audio from the video. You could see Lisa's face clearly in the bathroom mirror reflection, grinning with satisfaction as she worked, occasionally checking her phone to make sure the live stream was capturing everything. The footage cut to a second clip, audio only this time, but Danny's voice was unmistakable. "If this goes viral, it'll pay for everything. Mom and Dad always cave when we need money. They're too soft to let us fail." Lisa's voice responded, "Exactly. That's why this is perfect. We get the content, we get the sympathy, and we get the cash. It's a win-win-win." I looked out at the crowd. Some people had their hands over their mouths. Others were staring at their phones, watching the comments explode on Lisa's live stream, but not the kind of comments she'd been hoping for. "The gift I prepared for today," I continued, my voice cutting through the stunned silence, "has been redirected. It will not be going to people who view family members as content to be exploited for financial gain." Lisa tried to grab the microphone from me, but her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't get a good grip. "You can't just, this is my wedding. You're ruining everything." No, I said calmly. You ruined everything when you decided to treat my wife like a prop for your social media career. I turned to face Danny directly. Son, you chose to see your mother's kindness as weakness. You mistook our love for stupidity. Today, that ends. Danny's face had gone completely white. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again when he realized there was nothing he could say that would make any of this better. The live stream was still running on Lisa's phone, but now, instead of celebration, her followers were witnessing a complete meltdown. The comment section was moving too fast to read, but the tone was clear. People were horrified by what they'd seen. Nancy and I stood up together. Not rushed, not dramatic, just two people who had decided they'd had enough. We're leaving now, I announced to the room. Anyone who wants to stay and continue this production is welcome to do so. As we walked toward the exit, I heard Lisa's voice behind us, high and desperate. Wait, we can fix this. We can delete the videos. We can make this right. I didn't turn around. Some doors, once you close them, should stay closed. The aftermath unfolded exactly as I'd expected. Lisa's social media accounts were flooded with negative comments, and she lost thousands of followers within hours. Danny lost his job when the video reached his supervisor. Turns out companies don't like being associated with elder abuse scandals. The house they'd been so worried about losing to foreclosure, they lost it anyway 3 months later. Turns out viral infamy doesn't pay the bills the way they thought it would. Nancy and I used the redirected wedding gift money to establish the Puget Sound Elder Advocacy Center. Nancy runs support groups for older adults who've been exploited by family members. I handle the legal referrals and help people document abuse using the investigative skills I learned over 30 years of police work. We've helped over 200 families in the past year and a half. Each case is different, but they all share one common thread: people who thought they had no choice discovering that they do. Nancy's hair grew back, but she keeps it shorter. Now, says it feels lighter, more like her own choice than something she was carrying for someone else. She looks younger, actually. Not because someone cut her hair, but because she's not carrying the weight of other people's expectations anymore. Danny sent a letter last Christmas. I haven't opened it yet, and I'm not sure I will. Some relationships, once they're broken in certain ways, can't be fixed with apologies. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled things. The answer is simple. I spent my career learning when to use force and when to use restraint. That morning called for both. If you're listening to this story and something about it sounds familiar, if someone in your family is treating you like content, like a bank account, like a resource to be exploited, remember this: you don't owe anyone your dignity, not even family, especially not family. The truth will always find a way to the surface. Sometimes you just need to help it along. Sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones who will exploit that love for their own gain. Real love protects. It doesn't profit. The strongest weapon against manipulation isn't anger or confrontation. It's the quiet courage to withdraw your consent and walk away with your dignity intact.